I wouldn't have seen him yet since the MK Ultra episode's probably going to air after this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I got to get this out on Christmas, so this is going to be my priority.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Yeah. So as far as that goes, it's definitely Christmas Day, and we're definitely recording this Christmas morning.
Yeah, I woke up super early, drove out here, and I don't even know why I started wanting to do this. Probably just because it's Christmas time, and thought it might be interesting. There's a lot more to Christmas than I expected.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess welcome to the Christmas episode of Frickin' Dope.
Welcome.
Yeah. That's your camera there. So if you ever feel like talking to the people, that's where you'll do it.
To my adoring fans.
Yeah.
No.
What would your
Like two
fans
of
be
them.
called? If you had a fan, like what would they be called?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, we're
Nothing.
working on it.
And I'll think of something by the part 2.
Yeah. This is what we're going to do. You'll start telling me about things, and then I'll stop you and ask questions.
Yeah, so I guess it's good that it'll be kind of 2 parts because this first part I went really into the predecessors to Christmas.
Like the pagan things or whatever. Like it's a
I
bunch
guess
of
it's pagan, but it's not like Norse pagan type stuff because that's its own
right.
thing that goes along with Christmas time and Yuletide, stuff like that. But no, I mean...
It's like Ishtar, where Ishtar and all that, right? Like, because that's where Easter spawns out of Ishtar.
I just... Because, like, I'm pretty sure everyone knows Jesus was probably not born on December 25th.
Whoa.
I'm sorry to totally just shatter your reality here.
First of all, what's your source? Were you there?
Yeah, I have created a time machine, remember?
Oh, yeah. Kristian/Doc Brown.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. It's pretty much agreed that the reason that we celebrate Christmas when we do is because there are already celebrations happening around winter.
The solstice.
Solstice stuff, yeah. Like, oh, let's celebrate like the harvest is done. Let's celebrate because it was so good, and let's go into the new year with hopefully another good harvest.
Yeah.
And so we'll like give thanks to. So basically, what it went back to was in ancient Greece there was Chronia, which was a celebration in honor of the god Cronus, which is not Kronos like.
Oh, because I was like, wait, I think I know that.
No,
But
Kronos was like the personification of time. He wasn't technically a god, but Kronos with a K, and the other guy's Kronos with a CH, Kronos with a K, was Zeus's dad.
Okay.
He was like this. He's one of like the Titans, whose father was the creator of everything, kind of. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. We'll go into mythology later, but he was the god of the harvest. So, and this celebration was actually like what our modern time would be like July, August. So it makes sense. Like you're not gonna party outside in the streets in the middle of winter. It was Athenian, celebrated in Athens. Anyway, so they had like feasts, games, gambling, and I thought was interesting. It was a time when they would try to go back to the golden days from before labor was needed, when like the gods were on earth taking care of everybody. There were no masters and slaves. There was no like social classes because it was like gods and people. All the people were the same. Basically, for like the day, it was kind of like the purge. Slaves could be
like
treated...
the Purge the movie. Like you can kill whoever.
Not like that, but slaves were treated as equals. They could tell their masters whatever they wanted, and then sometimes even masters would like serve their slaves. Like, hey, we made dinner. Here, let me give you food.
You know the way that goes though is the slave's like, hey, do this.
Yeah, no, but apparently it was like they had carte blanche or whatever. Like they could talk back to them and tell them kind of what they really thought of them, whatever. And it was like, hey, it's okay. It's Chronia. We're good. So I thought that was interesting. There was also some like role reversal where guys would dress like women and women dress like guys so that they could all like
Is this Portland? This was in Portland?
Yeah, exactly. But no, so like everyone can like experience the same thing, kind of.
Sure. Like walk a mile in someone else's shoes
Yeah.
kind of thing.
So yeah, they had, like I said, banquets and parties and different types of games like dice and knuckle bones and things like that. And then, as we all know, the Romans were not very creative. They just took all the Greek gods and gave them Roman names. They did the same thing with Cronia, which became Saturnalia, which is, Saturn, Roman god, equivalent of Kronos.
Okay.
So instead of Cronia, it became Saturnalia, which was the same thing. It was just celebrated in December instead of July. But again, parties, they did the whole equal thing. Gag gifts were a thing in this one. They did not do apparently real gifts.
So like white elephant kind of thing.
Well, they didn't do real gifts because that would be an indication of social status. Like if you could afford a really expensive gift.
Right.
Oh, well, yeah, you're a rich guy who has slaves. But if everyone was just giving like, oh, look, I drew with charcoal on this papyrus. Here you go. That kind of thing. It was just silly and fun.
No envy or anything.
Yeah. Again, it was to help keep everyone equal.
Yep.
I guess it's like the modern equivalent of like, don't spend more than $20 kind of thing.
Limits.
Also, they had it had more of like a carnival feel. It was a lot more riotous, I guess. But they had like a king of Saturnalia, which was, we'll get to that later. It's like the Festival of Fools, the King of Fools kind of thing.
Sure.
So they would just pick one random guy. Well, he was elected. Some random guy who would just kind of preside over all the party. And he could just be like, hey, you, sing this song naked. And you, go try to catch a duck. Or whatever. And like it was expected of people to actually...
Those are awesome examples.
Actually do it. Yeah.
Catch a duck.
I don't know. It could be weird. It could be real weird. So actually, in a fun fact, our wonderful Emperor Nero, the terrible emperor that like killed everyone. He's just that really bad emperor that, like I said, he had a thing for his mom. I don't remember. He killed her. He killed like all of his wives. He was just terrible. And like when Rome
well, hang on.
fell,
what did they do?
Well, they probably deserved it. No. But apparently, and I was like, oh, maybe this like led into his weird craziness. He was named King of Saturnalia when he was a kid. So he's like, oh, I like the taste of this.
Yeah.
Just being absurd and making people do absurd things. So, who knows? As the years went on with Saturnalia, they had sacrifices, not like human sacrifices or even necessarily animal sacrifices, but they would have like a symbolic sacrifice to Saturn to like, oh, thank you for the harvest. Thank you for...
What would be the symbolic?
Well, they did like
a doll?
masks. Yeah, like
okay.
More like an effigy, like a representation of someone. There was a time when gladiators, like the ones that died, they're like, oh, that's our sacrifice. But some people were like, oh, that's too close to human sacrifice. Let's not do that anymore. So it was like masks, and they would light candles and torches and stuff in honor of Saturn. But they also started, apparently, they think in like an effort to appease the gods of the other countries they were trying to conquer. They would make sacrifices to them too. They're like, oh, in case that guy's real, let's go ahead and...
Holy cow.
What? Oh,
no, that. I'm reacting to you.
So yeah, they would do that. So they started doing sacrifices for Saturn.
Ah!
Ooh.
Yeah, he had this. I was going to do... That was the scary, like...
Oh.
Like, making sacrifices.
But they also...
He had that cranked.
They also gave, like, sacrifices to Kronos, and then, like, the Carthaginian counterpart to Kronos and Saturn, just so, in case, they can gain their favor, and then they might be able to conquer them easier, something like that.
Carthaginian, where do I know that? Somebody of Carthage. Hannibal of Carthage, right? So that's North Africa, northeastern Africa. Because Hannibal of Carthage, they went through the mountains.
Tunisia, yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically Tunisia nowadays. The spirit of it was getting a little less... Oh, yeah, it's for Saturn. It's like, it's just like what we do now, and let's just sacrifice to everyone or for everyone, just in case. As the years went on, Jesus came, did his thing. We're not going to get into all that. But
Who's this guy and what was the thing?
so then there's a new religion, Christianity. And so, like I said before, one of the probable reasons that we celebrate Christmas when we do is because we were already celebrating stuff in December.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, that's convenient. Let's just let them keep celebrating.
Efficient.
And let's just say, like, oh, yeah, you're also celebrating because Jesus was born. There you go. And everyone's like, okay, yeah, let's go with it. December 25th specifically is because there was an emperor called Aurelian who decided that one of the newer Roman gods, who's called Sol Invictus, was born on December 25th. It's interesting. He's a sun god. Jesus was son of God. Kind of
Whoa.
a coincidence, right?
Yeah.
There's some correlations between things that I haven't really looked that far into because I don't have, I have like a full-time job. I don't have all the time in the world.
Quit that, dude.
But yeah, later on.
Just kidding, JB and Christiana.
Later on, we got going into like the Middle Ages, Christmas was basically, it wasn't Saturnalia anymore. It was Christmas, but it was still gambling, feasting, getting drunk, and just like running around the streets, just causing chaos. Then there was, like I said, Lord of Misrule, the King of Fools kind of thing. That was still happening. I thought this one was interesting. In France and Switzerland, instead, it was one of the local boys would be declared bishop for the day. But still kind of the same rules. He could just kind of like tell people what to do. But he would kind of have to make sure things happen in a certain way so that they would get to the feast at the end of the night. And then the regular bishop would take over again for him. I don't know. But then during the Protestant Reformation, almost all of these celebrations and things were just like, no more. This isn't Christian.
Buzzkill, dude.
Right? They basically, it was like, oh yeah, we'll remember Jesus was born. No parties, no feasts, no anything. But then we come back to the 1800s, and a lot of the English-speaking countries decided to pick up some of the old traditions, just maybe not as riotous as before. So they started, where were we?
Riotous. Picking up old traditions.
Yes. But they, started having, nice feasts at the end of the year to mark transition into the new year again. Gift giving, candle lighting, which is another thing, like I said.
So when they did this gift giving, this was real gifts now, like this tradition, or not the gag stuff?
Yeah, I mean, obviously not America now with the crazy commercialism that's taken over, but yeah,
Sure.
like a nice gift, a thoughtful gift for the important people in your life. But certain people, in particular Charles Dickens, took this time as an opportunity to make sure that it was more of a mellow celebration, more of a wholesome, family-friendly event instead of, sing naked in the streets and gamble and get drunk.
I was gonna say what would make Christmas not family friendly, but I guess if there were a bunch of pranksters,
running around nude and drinking or falling over drunk in the streets,
being uptight, dude. Who doesn't run around nude, dude?
Right? Yeah. But so that was part of when he wrote the Christmas Carol. It was kind of like to encourage a spirit of charity. And, selflessness, I guess. So yeah, gift giving came back, candle lighting, which people would put candles on their trees, light them in the windows, Advent candles, things like that. That was harkened back to lighting candles for Saturn and Kronos.
Okay.
And then meals, singing, dancing, just not crazy drunkenness in the streets.
Right.
Unfortunately, I know you were really disappointed.
Yeah, because for a minute I was like, this sounds tight. And then you said, not that. And I was like, so then, no. So then I'm not going to invent that time machine that I was thinking about inventing to go back. So guess that's that. I'm not making a time machine now.
Sorry. I mean, I already have one, though. So
Oh, yeah. Doc
you could
Brown.
just take a ride with me.
Doc Christian Brown.
I know we haven't done, I mean, that's just like I said, the old origins and influences.
Okay.
Santa Claus is a whole other beast
Yeah, and
to
then
look
there's
into.
Krampus. Like some of
Yeah,
those
there's-
cold, like what is it? The
See if
North
I can find this. There is a list I found.
is Krampus. That's like a lot of Northern European countries did the
Germanic.
Krampus, right? Is it?
It's more like Germany and
Norway has some
Austria.
kind of monster like that too, don't they? It seems like all those places where it's like really harsh and they don't have a sense of humor. You know what I mean? They're like they're all the ones
Germany.
that believe in they're all the ones that believe in Krampus.
no, there's like all sorts of different gift giving figures for different countries. Obviously, Santa Claus is super popular, but like Father Christmas, basically the same guy, but they still keep the distinction between the two. Sinterklaas from Netherlands, technically different, but the same thing. He's kind of like where Santa gets his whole red suit from.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it harkens back to old, like what saints, like what bishops would wear from the church. They wore like really rich red colors. That's why Santa wears that, basically.
Well, I know a lot of those older, like the old countries have, like some Santas have different, digs. Somebody has a blue Santa. And I remember as a kid being like, oh, come on.
Father Christmas was often
is that what
portrayed
it
as
is?
being as wearing blue.
Yeah, blue with the white.
Yeah, but the red and white thing just kind of captivated people. It
Red's
just took
so
over.
bold and bright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot that I'm still getting into with him because he's got influences. Like I said, Saint Nicholas,
Like
which we've talked about with
yeah.
you at work. The whole gift giving thing with him was because he heard about some sisters whose father did not have a dowry for them, so they would never get married. So he was like, "Oh, I felt bad for them," so he would like sneak to their house at night.
What is a dowry?
Oh, so back in the olden days, when parents would kind of like arrange marriages for their daughters and stuff, they
Like
couldn't.
you basically had to buy the right to marry people. Like
Kind of.
I'll give
it
you
was
10
like
goats.
you couldn't attract any other parents' attentions for their son to want to marry your daughter if you didn't have several head of cattle or something of value saved up that you could give to them when they got married so that they had something to like start off with.
Oh,
basically.
so they would give it to the couple. It was a gift for the couple.
Well, to the couple, and that they would give it to the parents of the groom as well.
Huh.
So they didn't have anything. Saint Nicholas found out about this, and so would sneak there for 3 nights in a row because there were 3 daughters, and he would like climb up to their top window and slip bags of coins in or something like that, and they woke up and they didn't know who did it, and they were like, "Oh, it's a miracle! There's a blessing that we have. Now we can marry our daughters off to some nice, respectable young man." But he was also known to have resurrected 3 children who were abducted by a butcher during a time of famine. And he was like, "I don't have any meat. I've got to do something to keep my business going. I'll kill these kids, cure them like ham, and sell them to the people." St. Nicholas found out about it and came back in, and like burst in and resurrected them, like put them back together and brought them back to life. That was one of the miracles that's attested to him.
So that's like their version of like a cute Christmas story, like
Yeah.
like Rudolph.
Yeah. But the funny thing about that is that was like a wildly popular tale for a while, and it was put into like stained glass, and it was just huge, especially for like lower class people that were affected by famines and food shortages. Like, oh, like that somebody would take care of lowly people like us. But after a couple centuries, people all forgot the story, and they were like, "Oh, look, there's like stained glass. There's images of him with these 3 little kids sitting in a barrel. Oh, he must be the patron saint of brewers or the patron saint of," and they're like, they just forgot the reason of the story. But so he was a big inspiration because of like whole gift giving thing, and in part 2, there
Little
will be
teaser,
more.
little teaser. Part 2.
No, but some of the
tune in later.
some other cool things, correlations that I've found were 8 reindeer, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, where the heck did the reindeer thing come from? Why are they flying? What is this? The first like written record of Santa Claus having reindeer wasn't until 1821, but that's written record. So there's like oral stories and traditions. The one that I actually I thought of it a few days ago. Found someone that actually looked into it. There's a thing called the Wild Hunt in a lot of different folklore, Norse, English, Welsh. Different parts of Europe. Basically, with this like spectral procession that would fly through the sky, with like hunters and dogs and things like that. And like if someone saw it, it was like a bad omen. They were probably going to die. Really weird and not Christmassy at all. But eventually, different versions of that evolved, and the figure leading the hunt. Sometimes it was the devil. Sometimes it was like Saint Peter or something like that. Sometimes it was Odin. And so the connection I found was Odin riding through the sky. If you don't know Norse mythology, he had a horse called Sleipnir who had 8 legs.
Yeah.
So
I think Ashton has that tattooed on him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So the people think that it might have evolved into Santa Claus replacing Odin flying through the sky, not with an 8-legged horse, but with 8 reindeer that could pull him through the sky instead. So there's all kinds of strange
theories.
Things out there. There's also, I wonder if I still have that. One of my favorite like Christmas traditions that I found was from Iceland. I mean, nowadays, yeah, there's like Christmas and Santa Claus and things like that. But there was something called the Yule Lads. So there was like 12 of them, 13 of them.
Lads, boys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, little kids. 13. That's right. There were 13 of them. Their mother was called Grilla. She was like a troll mistress who lived in the mountains. And also, I think it's funny that her husband was like her third husband. So I don't know what the story is behind that.
Yeah, like
but apparently he's
a
like
troll that had 3 different dudes.
She can't keep a guy.
Yeah.
You know, but he's kind of like a layabout and like didn't really participate in anything. But anyway, so she's like had to like manage the house and keep everything in order. But the kids, the Yule Lads, I'm not even going to try to say their real like Icelandic names because I'm not sure about that. Their English names are pretty funny, and it relates to their I don't know, I guess you would call it. They have some sort of like OCD. They have some weird traits about them. So there's one, he's called the Sheepcoat Clod, who likes to just bother sheep in the fields. But he's not very good at it, apparently, because he has 2 peg legs. So he like hobbles.
How did he get that job?
I don't know. But he like hobbles around in the fields bothering sheep. Gullygawk, who just likes to hide in gullies around the towns, and if he has a chance, he'll sneak in and steal cow's milk.
Weirdo.
That's what he does. Stubby, he's short. I don't know if you saw that one coming.
Yeah, applicable.
But he likes.
Well, it was that or something else.
He's just very white. No, he likes to steal the pans from people's homes in order to eat the crust that's left off them.
Okay.
Spoon licker. Take a guess. What do you think he does? He likes to steal wooden spoons to lick them, but whenever he gets to steal them, there's not a lot left, so he's very malnourished. Very malnourished.
This sounds like if you were making the list of the worst supervillains.
Yeah.
You know, like if you want to do instead of Batman and Superman, like some terrible heroes and their arch enemies.
They're just incompetent.
I'm Spoon Licker. You've done it this time, Rat Man.
Just wait. These get
okay. It keeps getting good.
Yeah, they're very strange. Pot scraper. He's a lot like Stubby, but he doesn't steal pans. He steals pots to take the leftovers from them. But
naturally,
he gets a little bit more in the pots though, so he's not malnourished. I don't know. This one's obviously very close to them as well. Bowl licker. So he likes to.
Dude, a lot of liquors. A lot of liquors
they have weird
on
fetishes.
this list.
He likes to hide under beds, waiting for someone to put down their bowl. There's a type of bowl, I guess, is called an asker, which is made with a lid. So he'll like try to snatch them and then eat whatever's left in there. Door slammer. Pretty passive aggressive, I think, but he just likes to slam doors at night to wake people up.
Dude.
That's his thing. Skyr gobbler. Skyr is like it's almost like a yogurt. He just likes to steal it when he can to eat it. So he probably hangs out with the guy that tries to steal milk. Sausage swiper.
Dude, these are the worst names ever. Their name is just a verb.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure in Icelandic, their name might actually be a name.
Yeah.
But I can't. Like, sausage swiper. It's
How is it?
Bjugnakraker. I don't know if anyone watching this, if anyone who knows Icelandic might ever watch this. Let me know how I'm doing.
Yeah.
He hides in the rafters of the smokehouse to steal the sausages. You know,
Exactly
like
what you
one
would think.
does.
Yeah.
Window peeper, not as creepy as it sounds. He just likes to keep an eye out and look through the windows to steal anything that he can when no one's
So they're
looking.
just a bunch of kleptomaniacs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I get the impression they're not treated very well at home by Grilla, the ogre lady. No, trolls and ogres are.
Oh, they're interchangeable. I'm not a lore.
If we go into mythology, they
I
are
don't
different, but she's just not a pleasant lady.
Yeah.
There's the doorway sniffer.
How?
He has an abnormally large nose with a very acute sense of smell, and he uses that to locate leaf bread that might be unattended.
And
that
of
he
all the
could
places to
snatch.
find leaf bread doorways is
Well,
like
he probably
ideal.
smells them from the doorway,
Okay.
and then it's like, oh, this house has got some. Let's go in.
Okay. I didn't
Yes.
even think about the sniffing from outside.
Yeah,
I
he
was-
just stays by the door to smell, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Meat hook is not a weird
That's
horror
like
villain.
that's the first tight name though on this list.
He's like a miniature little like Chainsaw Massacre guy. He's like
Yeah.
a sidekick.
A meat hook.
He just uses a meat hook to steal meat. Go figure. The last official one is candle stealer. He likes to follow people, well, it says children, around in order to steal their candles, which used to be made out of animal fat, so they were edible. He would like to eat candles.
Yeah.
And then there's also a little story about there were two.
Or he was on a keto diet.
Ha. You're funny.
I can't find enough fat.
There's another story about, it's very obscure apparently, about two sisters, basically,
Oh, okay.
who like to steal melted fat by either stuffing it up their nose or keeping it in their socks. So a little crazy here. Now, the one thing that I thought was pretty interesting, kind of clever on behalf of the kind of, I guess, jerk farmers who had their laborers, there's the Yule cat. So the Yule cat was apparently a huge, monstrous cat that would prowl around the countryside. And when I first stumbled upon this, I was like, well, this sounds very mean and kind of random. Like, basically, he would eat anyone who did not get any new clothes to wear as a gift.
So
And I was like, well, what if you didn't get clothes for Christmas?
Right.
Like, that's not fair.
That's not in your control even.
This is where it comes from. So the Yule cat was kind of perpetuated by farmers who were trying to get their laborers to help finish, shearing the sheep, collecting the wool for harvest and things like that. Because once
That was
the
their
harvest
incentive.
was completed, the farmers, it was a tradition to give their laborers a new set of clothes. So basically it was like,
Do you want to die?
if you don't do your job, I'm not going to give you clothes. And then that giant cat over there is just
Gonna get you.
jump on you in the middle of the night and eat you.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's clever. I mean, it's kind of messed up, but it's clever.
So it's like the farmers were the parents and their workers were they treated like children.
I guess so. I don't know. But yeah, that one was interesting. Let's see. Another one, Christmassy tradition and I hope I'm saying this one right. It's from Wales. It's called the Mary Lloyd.
Jake can tell me. The Mary Lloyd.
That's not what it looks like. Mari Lloyd. Not Mary, Mari. But Mari is probably related to Mary in some way, but in this case, so there's a tradition called wassailing, which you might have heard in Christmas song. I can't remember which one it is, but it's talking about going wassailing. Basically, it's going around door to door singing to people, kind of like caroling.
Okay.
But if the people in the house weren't able to, like, it's not a rap battle. It's just like, oh, let's sing to me, you sing to me. And then if you can't sing back to me, I'll come into your house and you have to give me like a treat or something. Like, oh,
Okay.
let me
Sure.
have some of your
And
food.
That's wassailing. It's like,
Yeah, it's kind of like that. The Mari Lloyd was among the wassailers. One guy would hold a skull of a horse on a stick and have like a sheet behind it, like covering him, so it looks like a horse skull just parading around, and that was part of the tradition. I think it was Mari Lloyd translates into like the gray mare or something like that. Don't know why this became a Christmas thing. There's of course more to go into, but yeah. So festive Christmas tradition, carrying around a horse skull, and if people can't sing a song back to you, you go inside with it and eat their food. It's kind of odd.
Yeah.
But it's fun stuff. Also, back to like the whole reindeer thing. The first mention of Santa Claus having a reindeer doesn't necessarily say 8 reindeer. Just says there's a reindeer. There are reindeer pulling a sleigh or something like that. And actually, I think it still says it technically in like 'Twas the Night Before Christmas or something. But there's an old little story called Old Santa Claus with Much Delight, and it mentions a miniature sleigh with tiny reindeer, meaning that some people in the 1800s didn't think of Santa Claus as a big jolly guy. It was like a little elf in a tiny sleigh
That would make sense
with a
as,
tiny reindeer.
yeah.
That's how he gets down people's chimneys.
That's what I was going to say. That would make sense as to how he gets in the house.
He still needs magic somehow to
Build the toys.
to get around the world.
Yeah.
I mean, not everyone celebrates Christmas, obviously, but you can't visit everyone in one night. That's magical. But no, he was just like a small little guy that would sneak down.
Well, was it back in those days? Like, how far back was that they believe in that dude? Because their idea of the world was probably a whole lot smaller. Like the world is 2 towns.
Oh, this was like this story was published in 1821. So like they knew about pretty much most of the world.
They knew there was a
except
world.
for
Yeah.
Antarctica or whatever. But,
Yeah.
but yeah, so he was originally like basically one of the elves, but like the head elf, which sometimes he's still referenced as a jolly old elf or like the head elf. But yeah, he was actually small little guy. I don't know, 6 inches, foot tall.
Dude, this is just, I'm just downloading.
Right? It's a
Like,
lot
okay,
of stuff.
okay.
And this isn't even. There's so much more to go through. Remember that whole list of gift bringers from around the world?
Yeah.
There's a lot of countries that they don't have an old man that brings gifts. They have a child, which in a lot of the countries it's like baby Jesus. Somehow comes back as baby Jesus to deliver gifts. Which actually like in Austria, he's called and again, I'm not Austrian, don't know how to actually say this, but looks like Christkind. It's like Christkind, like Christ child, because kind is kid.
Austrian
basically.
Sounds a lot like German.
Yeah. Christkind evolved into Kris Kringle, which is just another name for Santa Claus, just someone who brings gifts. And then there are other deliverers of presents. So like I said, main one, Santa Claus, Saint Nick, Santa Claus, whatever, Father Christmas. In some countries, it's the 3 kings that like gave gifts to
The wise men?
Jesus. Yeah, the wise men who gave gifts to him on, his birthday, which is Christmas. So like in some traditions, it's them that come around Christmas time. Not necessarily Christmas Eve, but week after, week before, whatever. and they would be the ones to deliver stuff.
My family had a tradition every year on Christmas Eve. We'd act out the nativity, and my dad would say the same joke every year, and it would be like, "Who's going to be the three wise guys?" It's like,
Was he going for like mobster kind of thing, like, or
no,
just
like you wise guy.
Yeah, okay. Some sarcastic guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, or he'd wait until we were in costume. He's like, "Oh, looks like we got our wise guys." It's like, who's your audience? Your audience is us. Like,
We've heard it before. Get some new material.
yeah. It's pretty funny.
But there's one I wanted to touch on, partly because my wife's Italian. So in Italy, they have Father Christmas.
Ladies, married, okay?
Sorry, should put a ring on it. They have a tradition with baby Jesus as a deliverer of some gifts. But they have something called La Befana. She's a witch, basically.
Nice.
Who does have a broom, but it's because she cleans chimneys. She's a good witch.
Oh.
Do you have like Glinda's intro music from Wizard of Oz or something? Oh, that's good. That's not bad. And she comes on Epiphany Eve, which is January 5th.
Oh.
So I don't feel bad about not getting all of this done before Christmas because this is all about.
This is free entertainment.
Yeah.
Anyone who's
December
listening
through January.
Right. Anyone who's listening or watching this is like, this guy didn't even have it all. You know what? You can kick rocks, but don't subscribe, follow.
But also don't kick too large of rocks because then you might hurt your foot.
Yeah, like gravel.
Yeah. Gravel, maybe some river
Kick
rocks.
gravel,
something
pal.
I don't know.
Kick pop rocks.
But she'll visit, and she's kind of like a stocking-centric giver. So like they'll have their stockings hung up, and she'll put candy in them if they're good, coal, or like it says dark candy if they're bad. So I'm imagining licorice, black licorice. You know, who wants that stuff?
Yeah, trash. It's rubber.
Yeah. Did you hear about that guy earlier this year that died because he ate too much of it?
Rubber?
No, black licorice.
Yeah. I was like, what would be the weirder one?
No, he apparently like ate a bag a day for weeks straight.
Frick?
And there's something in licorice and anise that built up in his system. And it like
it was licorice that built up.
It caused his heart to stop.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So don't eat it, folks. It's gross.
So it's
It'll
like
kill
rat
you.
poison, like it made his, what do they call that? Like it turns your blood into almost jelly.
Oh, I don't
So it
know if
can't
did
pump
to
it.
his blood. It might have. Maybe it made it thicker.
Yeah.
Who knows?
His blood was like the licorice.
Yeah, but no, if I remember correctly, like the coroner report said there was a lot of this in his system.
Cause of
You get
death.
that from black licorice.
Black licorice.
And everyone's like, oh, he was eating a lot of that. So, yeah. But La Befana, she's like I said, she's a nice witch. She's a little dirty because she has to like go through the chimney. So she's like, kind of just gross
Looks
looking.
like a chimney sweep, like Mary Poppins.
Yeah, she's burnt.
She's burnt.
But the thing I liked about her was that sometimes because she's such like a picky housekeeper, if like the house that she visits isn't quite in order, she'll sweep it before she
That's
leaves.
tight. What
That's
a
really nice.
sweetheart.
That's nice. But yeah, she's often portrayed as a hag on a broomstick who rides through the air with a shawl. I'm like, oh, that's like the classic witch.
Yeah.
But not in her behavior. So let's see.
She earned this.
I'd say so.
And you know what? You earned this.
So, part 2, whenever this has a part 2 again,
Whenever you're ready.
I'm going to go more into Yuletide stuff.
We'll be
Because-
Yuletiding.
Yuletide, obviously, modern days, has been affected by Christmas and vice versa. But it kind of was its own thing, like separate from this whole Cronia, Saturnalia type stuff. Because that was, Greek, Roman. Yuletide was Germanic, Norse type stuff. It was like, came along separately, and it's a lot more pagan, like what you mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
This, Cronia and Saturnalia was what's that term for it? The classical gods or whatever.
Old gods.
Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, Yuletide stuff was like sacrifices to the Night Mother and stuff like that. So it's a little darker.
The
creepy.
Night Mother?
We'll go into it.
Yeah. Coming in episode 2, dude. That's, oh my gosh, the Night Mother. I'm fired up about the Night Mother. So when are we going to do this again? A couple weeks?
Yeah, I'd say like New Year, a few weeks from now. Like I said, it's a lot to go through.
Sure.
I still got to organize it because it's...
I discovered a cut on my finger,
Okay.
and then, as everyone does, when you discover a cut, you have to press it to see how bad it hurts, to then determine how bad the cut is.
I thought this
and
was a
I
weird
do
signal for me. I was like,
no,
what?
I triple tapped. I was like, ow, 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 and I was like, yeah, it's based on my pain threshold. It's okay. It's not. I'm not too worried about the cut, but I had to check. By pressing.
But yeah, so there's a lot to go through. Yule
Cool.
logs, Night Mother, Mother of the Night is a thing. There's like fertility rituals and all kinds of stuff. So
Excellent.
yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm going to deep dive into that because I am very Norwegian. It's interesting to see what my ancestors used to do.
Yeah,
I guess some people could still do it. I don't know.
probably some like traditionalists.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you should start it. Kind of start
See if
bringing
there's-
it back.
If there's anything really good. You start
Yeah,
doing it
yeah.
again.
It's like, wait, we'll find out if I'm.
Yeah, like
Let
the
me see if it's
whole,
cool.
like sacrifice thing. Maybe I'll tone that down a bit.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say the other stuff doesn't sound cool, but anyway. So am I gonna open this present now?
Oh, yeah, if you want.
So Kristian brought this gift for me
It's a good time to do it.
because he's a sweetheart, and my gift to him is just
crinkle
my
it.
friendship.
Crinkle it
Because
at the
I'm
mic.
pathetic.
Oh. Chrissy and I saw that when we were out today, and
Oh, this is a fresh gift, dude.
Yes.
Fresh present. Paper's high quality. I hope you can hear that at home.
you hear those crinkles. Chris
Oh,
crinkles.
it's a hat. Chris Crinkles. Oh, fire. Dude, this is actually fire.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's cool. It's nice and subtle.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
It's low key.
favorite.
So
People are like, oh, Wayne, do you work for Wayne
it's probably
Enterprises?
going to become a prop. It's probably
Wayne
going to be.
Industries? Like,
Yeah. So for anybody that's just listening to the audio version of this, they got me a hat, a ball cap it says Wayne Industries, and it has the logo from the
logo.
movies.
it's a nice looking logo.
It's a very nice looking logo. It's clean. It's my favorite type. And I have headphones on, so I can't wear it normal. So instead, I'm wearing it like a G.
You should wear it all the time.
But thank you very much, Kristian, and thank you very much, Christiana. This is awesome. Like you guys, you guys nailed it.
Yeah, it looks
But-
good. I was like, yeah, Dayforce hats.
Yeah, not as much now that my hair's all long.
Yeah,
But-
you can put your pony through it.
I do. Yeah, I need to. I probably should get a haircut. That's what all the people keep telling me because I'm old. They're like, old people aren't supposed to have long hair, and I'm like, tell Jesus. But then I was like, wait, who's Jesus?
What about all the old rockers and stuff?
Because I forgot that I couldn't remember who that was from earlier in the podcast.
Because you're so old.
Yeah, because I'm going senile. I got that 23andMe test, done. I was telling you about it, and you did the ancestry. Pretty cool, right, people?
Yep.
Mine has like the health markers, so they can tell.
So what are you going to die from?
It says I'll probably get diabetes,
Oh.
type 2 diabetes.
Did
I
Wilford
have.
Brimley pop up on the screen? Tell you.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, click here to get your supplies. Get
And,
started early.
Yeah. I was like, that tracks because my dad has it. And they said people with my gene type or DNA type, whatever it is, like 25% chance to get type 2 diabetes. So
Yeah,
it's a quarter. I could dodge it, but we'll see. I've been really cutting back on my sugar intake for a while anyway. So trying to get all that under control. Preemptive stuff, you know. But yeah, it didn't really say, when you did yours, did it have the health thing?
No. No, like I said, I think I might try to do the 23andMe as well, just to see how they compare to each other, and then see what that says. I don't really have a lot of history of heart problems, more cancer in my family, so that sucks.
Yeah.
But not the same kind of cancer. So maybe that's
good news.
Maybe it's just random,
right? Yeah. That is one thing. Like the only real thing that stood out is it said your eyeballs are going to start getting crappier, and I'm like, check. You know, I've needed reading glasses for a long time, and then I've recently, you know, started wearing glasses.
Where are they? I'm not wearing them.
I'm trying to look cooler on the podcast, dude. Like I saw myself in the glasses.
But you got those Tony Stark glasses.
Yeah, I almost wore those. I was like, I'm gonna wear these and I was even gonna say something about like, I decided to look cool today, you know, something like that. But it seemed a little corny. But anyway, I mean, I don't need them to see. I see fine. I get headaches if I try reading things, you know. So throughout the day, also like distance, like what are they, like racking focus? I don't know what you call that in real life. That's a camera term.
Just focusing.
But yeah, like if I go from looking at something far away to looking at something close, I can feel like I get like a little ow, like it's the strain.
Sometimes,
yeah,
I need glasses to see far, but distance. Sometimes if I'm concentrating on something really detailed, like close up, like if I'm drawing or something, my eyes will start vibrating uncontrollably, and I just have to like sit back and just kind of blink. I can make my eyes do it on my own, but when it's involuntary, it's not fun.
Is that at all related to the migraines that you get occasionally?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
No, it's just...
Yeah, I didn't know if one
I can see fine up close. It's just sometimes it's just like they're like, oh, wait, overload. Okay.
That was one thing that the 23andMe talked about that it made me think of you, was it does have like something in there about migraines. Like if they're...
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, like what it is in your genes that are causing the migraine or whatever is kind of how I interpreted it. I didn't have any of those markers, so I didn't know.
Might be worth to look into.
Yeah, it could be cool. I could actually look at it and kind of see exactly what it was telling you. But this is one thing that I thought was screwy about the 23andMe one, at least, is they're like, oh, so here's all this information, but if you want to unlock these extra results, it's $30 a year. And I'm like, why would I pay for a yearly?
What kind of results?
One of them was some kind of heart health tracker thingamajig. I was like...
It's like I get it with Ancestry because you can do like genealogical research and stuff. Which
sure. And you got to pay them for their time.
Yeah. But yeah, I didn't know there would be a yearly thing for 23.
Yeah. In honesty, I didn't look too much at it, so I don't know all what was included. I just was looking at my results, and I was like, oh, okay, what's it? You have to pay another $30 a year. And I'm like, bro, I just dropped like $150 on this thing. That's how they get you.
Yeah.
You know,
maybe they give you like another test every year to keep track of stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems weird. Oh, and I told you people at home, since you're not going to know, I'm pretty much mixed. I got my my genetic makeup back. I'm 0.5% Nigerian. What up, dude?
0.5.
Yeah. 0.5% Pacific Islander, Asian, Native American.
Oh, it's not just like
it's not pure native.
Like, to North America. It's
I guess they can't tell the difference in those genes yet.
Interesting.
Yeah, maybe not enough data yet because it shows like on the map, like when you click over it, it's like with the parts of me that are British, which is the majority, 58% was British, British Irish. It'll show like they have it like tracked down to like the city. It's
Shire.
like I'm from, partly, from Dublin. Actual London proper, and it has all the little areas that your genes, I don't know, have popped up in or they believe they originated in. Yeah. And the Native American / Pacific Islander / what was the other one I said? Asian. Like, I don't remember if it even specified or if it was just Asian, but it was just yellow. I just remember yellow is all the way up Mexico and Canada and then over.
All of Pacific.
Yeah. I was like, whoa.
Interesting.
All the other ones are like pinpointed. And then they're like, and then we don't know.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that'll update. That's what that $30
That could be
does.
it. Yeah. But just that, like, and I'm guessing it, I mean, how far back, like a 0.5, how far back would that be genetically? A couple hundred years? Probably 200 years, 300 years?
I don't know.
Because I was trying to guess if it would be a Native American. Like, is it a native? The Wagners got here in the early 1700s. This is no longer about Christmas, but
They celebrated
bonus
Christmas
content.
when they got here.
This is on the Patreon.
Jeez.
OnlyFans.
Yeah, because, well, like I know, like from your mom and your dad, you don't get 50% from mom, 50% from dad. It's a different
mishmash.
I don't know how it actually works. I'm not a geneticist. Otherwise, I wouldn't be on this podcast. No, I'm just kidding. I probably would. But yeah, so I don't know exactly how that would, like how far. I mean, it's got to be pretty far back. It's 0.5.
That's what I was trying to figure out. I was like, if it's 0.5, is that like 1,000 years ago? But then I'm like, okay, generation. So it's roughly what, 20 years? If you average it out, you know, especially older generations had kids younger. So if we go by like 20 years for every new individual, new marker, like how far would you have to go to get to? Because that would be less than 100th. You know, so 200 generations.
I could see 300 years.
Yeah, it's a ways, whatever it is. So, because anyway, so it's not. I'm probably not related to a Native American. It's probably somebody way further back than that.
I don't know. I mean, you might find a cousin.
Yeah,
eventually.
Yeah, and that was one thing kind of cool about it. It shows you can opt in to let people see that could be related to you. And I was like, sure. And then it says there's this person that is probably like a third cousin, I think it was. And I looked at the picture of this gal. She's like in her 50s, and dude, she looks almost like my grandma. I was like, whoa, yep, I'm related to her. Yeah, it was kind of crazy.
Yeah, they have on Ancestry, they do that as well. I haven't looked too far into it. There's a few people I'm related to that have done it. So like they'll pop up and like I don't remember how cousins work. I don't know how that whole layout is, but
oh, you
one
mean
of
like
my
first cousins?
Yeah, first cousin, second removed.
Yeah, it's
blah, blah, blah.
weird.
One of my cousins, who's my mom's age, she did it, and so she's there. She's like first cousin. Yeah, I guess she would be a first cousin. And then my aunt did it, so she's there. My half sister did it, so they're like the top three. Like, hey, you're related to these people, like real close. In case you didn't know, I'm like, oh yeah, I know them. Don't worry.
I have a brother.
Yeah, no, on Ancestry, because I think because 23andMe is relatively new.
I think
Ancestry's been doing it for a while, and there are like 150 people I could go through if I wanted to, and like actually check them and like see who they might be. A lot of them are like fifth cousins and further out, so I don't even know what that is. That's got to be like my great grandparents like had another kid, and then they had married somebody, and then so quite a big distance, but there's a lot on there. And then like I said, like I told you before, the Ancestry one will update occasionally, because I did that test 2015, and it's updated twice since then, because I'll log in like after a year and it's like, hey, we've got new results, a little more accurate, so it's really nice.
The 23andMe one,
hope we get a sponsorship.
Yeah, let's go. The 23andMe has like a feature you can turn off and on, and one is like where they think you're like that one that like pinpointed Nigeria and all that. Like if you turn it off, it just said like it was almost like ambiguous or whatever. I think it was other or something like that.
Oh yeah.
But then when you turn it on, it's like Nigeria. And then, like, I think it says Scandinavian. It was,
Yeah, you said you had a
I
little
think Scandinavian was like 6%, but then when you turn that thing on, it says it's only like 3. So it's kind of like, I don't know how all their math works.
Weird.
But yeah, one of them, I don't know if it was like old data versus new, like what they think versus what they have hard data on, or theory versus hard data. So it was cool. But I saw on yours what I thought I was totally jealous of, and I started looking at on the 23andMe to see if it did it, is yours kind of has like the migration map of where they came in America and all that stuff. And I was like, whoa, like it tracks them through like Ellis Island and into the northeast.
On my mom's side of the family, her mom was first generation, and her parents were born in Norway and then moved here. So there's not like anything about that because they moved straight here to Seattle. Actually, my grandma was born there.
Oh.
But yeah, there's information because from like the 1700s, actually late 1600s, I had some family in Vermont and New Hampshire area, Massachusetts. So yeah, it was, start of the country, like pre-country.
They were burning witches and everything.
Yeah, probably. Or maybe some of them got burnt. I don't know.
Oh.
Try to find out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has a little info about that because they were, definitely New Englanders.
That's cool.
Have created or pioneered in that area.
It's so weird. Like big picture, it's trivial and doesn't matter. In our life, we're gonna die, we're born, blah blah blah, nihilistic stuff. But it's kind of, I do this when I find out, every time I do any kind of like genealogical research or anything, I'll start like looking at pictures of that countryside, and I even will like go through like what would their days have been like. Like,
oh yeah,
you'll get up and it's like, I got to go hunt today. You're working your way through the black forest trying to get got
to make sure that
boar.
Little Yule lad's not bothering your sheep, stealing your milk and stuff like that.
Make sure the Yule cat doesn't get you. All the Yules. Yeah, but I do that a ton. Like I'll just it's kind of silly, but like same with this. When I got the 23andMe, when I saw like Nigerian, for example, I go, whoa, makes sense.
Didn't expect.
Totally makes sense. I'll be like, whoa. I'm like, how? Like, and how far back is that? And I'm like, because then you think, like, as far as how does somebody then get from there all the way up to Germany? And if it was a 5, like only 0.5%, like this would have been hundreds of years ago, presumably, where that wasn't at all common. So like,
yeah, I think it could be it could be a not so great story, slave or something like that.
Sure.
Some sort of.
So then you have a mixed
like
kid.
the founding fathers did, but yeah, I mean, it might have been that.
Yeah, and then how does that mixed kid end up being brought back to Germany?
Yeah, and like it's so far back, like you're probably never going to figure out for sure.
Right? Yeah, there's no way.
It's kind of infuriating.
Yeah, it's just like we were talking about with conspiracy theories. It's
when they burn all the freaking documents.
Yeah,
jeez.
There's certain things we will never know. Yeah. Aliens.
Yeah, that's one we should go over.
That'd be cool. That'll be enough. We'll do that.
UFO sightings was over Mount Rainier, like before the Roswell whole incident. There were some pilots that saw some stuff over Mount Rainier, and they were like, "What is that?" Like 3 lights bouncing around, doing all kinds of stuff. So we'll come back to that.
Cool. Well, guys, you got some bonus content, some really riveting like DNA talk. Kristian, thanks for coming. You said
I'll be back.
Yes, good.
No, I'll be back. We'll do part 2 of Christmas. We'll do some movie stuff.
Absolutely.
We're gonna watch Wonder Woman, right?
We're going to watch Wonder Woman 84. I want to do a movie review of that. We just did the Tenet review. This might come up before Tenet because the urgency of the Christmas episode. Yeah. I'm going to have them both coming out this week. So hopefully if you haven't seen the Tenet episode yet, then you now know. Check it out. I went to film school, so I had a lot of I think pretty good insight that maybe a layman or, you know, a normie, a civvy, as the army.
A plebe.
Is that what armies call them? Civvies? Like civilian?
Civvies are what you wear when you're
Clothes.
not on duty.
Yeah, civilian clothes. That's right. They have a term for calling, you know, random normal people. But anyway, so yeah, check that out. Hopefully you'll learn something about movies, how they're made.
Yeah, get some different insight.
Yeah. Thanks, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been fun.
All right. Have a good night, motherfrickers. Or dope heads. What should I call my what should I call people, my followers?
Think of my fans'
dope heads.
nickname and then your nickname.
Yeah, you need a fan's name and I need a follower's names. All right, dope heads or motherfrickers. You guys decide. Oh.